And this is the town, and forgive me if it's emo or emo, it's the letter E-M-O. So I'm going to say emo. The town of Emo, Ontario. Should have looked exactly at how many people are in this town. I apologize. Sounds of it's pretty small. This town was fined $10,000, and the mayor was fined $5,000 for not participating in Pride Month, not flying the LGBTQIA plus flag. Guys, we've got to get it down to where it's just like, just say the plus flag or something. That's a lot to memorize, and I shouldn't have to do that. This passenger started beating his seat up. He just got up and he started punching it, and then apparently he's just stood on it and just kicked it. And witness Gino, my man Gino Galafaro, sounds like maybe he was part of the mob, said, quote, "The flight attendant walked by a few times, but nobody did anything. They just kind of let him do it." And so Gino and two others zip tied this guy's hands and feet together and fastened him to a seat nearby that nobody was sitting near until they landed. An hour like this. So imagine this guy just sitting there zip tied from passengers. Welcome to Stay in the Gray podcast. We explore news that gets people talking by blending comedy and controversy.
Feel the word, shadow screams unheard.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Trey. Together we dive into tough topics with a combination of humor and some insight.
So join us as we navigate the gray areas of the world and engaging in real conversation.
Come get to know us.
All right, everybody, I'm getting right into it tonight because I'm pretty fired up and I'm annoyed and aggravated and all of the above. Just nothing's changed. It all has to do with social media. It all has to do with people that don't know how to have a conversation, people that think they know how to have a conversation. And it's something that we need to get large enough as a podcast to where I don't have to do this anymore and I can hire somebody that has the ability to rein it in a little bit, harness the anger, harness the rage that I feel from some of these people. You guys are pathetic, and I understand a lot of them are trolls. A lot of you wake up just like, can't wait to go piss off some people today. I like to do it with issues and discussion. I don't wake up and I don't go looking for a post specifically that somebody I don't know and then patronize them, which is what continues to happen to me. And sadly, I fall for it, so I'm working on it, and maybe I need to hire a therapist just for this reason. But let me go right into butthurt comments tonight, and this is an example. And this is where it goes over the line. And that's why I'm going to go right into butthurt comments. Don't worry, I'll give you my headline that made it through editing here soon. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you, and this stems not from politics, believe it or not. This stems from a very big college football game that happened last week. And for those of you listening that don't care about college football or college sports or college at all, it's obvious by some of the things I wear. We got a football helmet back here with 12th man towel for Texas A&M University. That is my university. I'm very proud of it. People call us a cult because of our passion and because of our traditions and because of the things that you don't understand from the outside. From the inside, we cannot explain it. From the outside, you can't understand it. That's our saying. And so during this game was at College Station, Texas, which is where the university is located, with a rival, the Texas Longhorns, that have not played us in 13 years. They were afraid to play us when we left conferences, and their athletic director refused to continue the game. Well, 13 years later, here they are. They chased us to the SEC, and we had the first game. And unfortunately for me, A&M lost, and I'll admit that. We could talk about referees. We could talk about plays that mattered both ways. I thought it was a relatively close game, 17-7. I don't think you can call that anything other than what it was, especially when we're a foot away from making it 17-14 with 5 minutes left. So game was good, okay? Everything's fine. Obviously, we're disappointed. We waited for this game for a long time. So on my personal account on Twitter, I have told Trey I will not, because Trey actually cheers for the Longhorns, but he is not here to defend himself. And I'm sure we'll get into this conversation, hopefully at some point when he's back, because it's not just about these two schools. It's about rivalries in general. It's about where's the line cross too far, things like that. So hopefully when he gets back, we can add this to our arsenal of topics. But my issue is that I've always believed that the University of Texas has classless fans. I've witnessed it. I've grown up with it. My dad and grandfather, who are both Aggies, have talked about their experiences in the past when Texas A&M was a college, military college of only guys, small school. It was the first land-grant university, so they are Big Brother, no matter how much the University of Texas likes to say that. Anyway, so this was on my private site. Like I said, I agreed to not speak for the Stay in the Gray podcast because Trey and I do have different teams, especially in this. Can't get any further apart than the two teams here. And so I went to my own account, which, I'm not trying to get many followers. I just have a few friends, and I get on there. And so I get these responses all night. And of course, I'll get on there during the game. Oh, the ref made this call. There was a targeting that was so blatantly targeting, and they went and reviewed it and just called it back. These types of things piss me off, and so I'm going to vent somehow, some way. Sometimes I'm slightly embarrassed, and I'll erase Facebook posts or whatever, but I got to vent. I mean, I can't sit there and scream at the top of my lungs from where I'm sitting at the game. I could, I suppose, but and so I get these jackasses that come on, and long story short, I'll give you two examples, and one of them, I'm not even going to read you the exact post. One of them was fine. I mean, he's this passive aggressive, like, he actually took 4 of my posts and said, you're saying, you're being mean, and you're claiming that Longhorn fans are the ones being. I mean, it's just like he had all this time on his hands. But the whole thing was he was playing this good guy act, when in reality it was underhanded jabs and passive aggressiveness. And he didn't have a profile picture. He has like 20 people following him, and he has 31 total posts. So I'm honored that he decided to come on and choose my account to talk to. The other one that crossed the line was, just basic, probably a T-shirt fan, which is what I call him. Didn't go to school there, has no affiliation. Bought his Longhorn T-shirt at Walmart and cheers him on. And these are the ones that tend to have the lower IQs, couldn't get in maybe to the universities, and they'll come at you hard with vulgarity and personal attacks before you even get anywhere. And I had a couple of those, and usually I can brush it off, and maybe I'll throw some back. But this one went to as far as to message me privately and say, "Is this you?" with my, fortunately, former home address. So this guy has gone over the line, and now, in a way, is threatening myself, which in turn threatens my wife and kids. And even though he's probably a big pussy, and he's doing it as some sort of cool scare tactic, he thinks, I went ahead and reported him for stalking me, and I have my address nowhere on my profile anywhere. So for him to go and do that is over the line in social media. There's got to be a line, right? I mean, freedom of speech, you can say what you want, but as soon as you go and hunt down somebody's address, to me that's a threat. To me that wasn't just, haha, look what I found. I mean, what are you trying to say by that? And so that crossed the line. So I'm fired up. I wanted to get to that first. Argue with me. We can call each other names and whatever, but don't ever try and threaten my family and come at us like this, especially if we continue to grow and I put my face out there, which I'm willing to do. I'm not hiding behind anything, like pretty much all of you that I'm talking about are. And so let's move on from that. I mean, I'm fired up about it, and I'd like to talk to Trey about when he's back. And he's the one that's not like this. I feel bad because I feel like there's such trash that comes out of that university over in Austin. And that city's such a shithole now, and I apologize if you're from Austin, but it is. And the arrogance that comes out of that university is just beyond me, and I've seen it my entire life. Trey's the one guy that roots for this team that I just, man, I can't get him to be disrespectful. He's the most respectful guy, and I admire that about him. And everybody should try and strive to be like that, including myself. So I hope to have him on, and we can maybe talk about kind of the rivalry. There's a lot there, and there's some pretty cool stories that I have, and I'm sure that he has over the years. Now that it's back, I was planning to do something like that but he hasn't been able to get back in here for a little while. So hopefully that's soon, and we'll talk. So let me move on. Let me give you a headline and calm down a little bit. This headline made it through editing. Apparently, there's a Greenland meteorite, and it may be from space. We'll move on. I don't know where else the meteorite would come from, but this one apparently came from space, according to scientists. I tell you what, I could probably do that job if that's all I needed to say. Let's do news. Let's take a sip of my coffee. Again, these daytime shows are great. Good light. Love it that it's cooled down in Texas. Anybody that's in Texas can understand what I'm saying. It's gorgeous every day. High 50s and sunny, low 60s and sunny every day. Mornings are crisp. Love it. So I'm happy. I'll let that get me out of the funk of Longhorn fans and football in general. I can't seem to win in fantasy. The Steelers are my bright spot, so go Steelers. Let's go. And tonight, let's talk about another airline flight. I feel like you could almost do an entire podcast of airline issues and flights and either flight scares or people on the planes and things they do. Well, this one is it's not totally crazy, and it could have escalated, but this is United Airlines flight 502 from Austin, speaking of, to Los Angeles, two cities that have some interesting people in them. And this passenger started beating his seat up. He just got up and he started punching it, and then apparently he just stood on it and just kicked it. And witness Gino, my man Gino Galafaro, sounds like maybe he was part of the mob, said, quote, "The flight attendant walked by a few times, but nobody did anything. They just kind of let him do it. And so Gino and two others zip-tied this guy's hands and feet together and fastened him to a seat nearby that nobody was sitting near until they landed. An hour like this. So imagine this guy just sitting there zip-tied from passengers. And nobody's doing anything. Nobody of authority. I've heard of pilots. We've done stories for pilots landing because some poo leaked out of a bathroom or because there was a mouse. This guy seems like he's threatening some things, and they're like, we'll just tie him up. We'll let the civilians handle this. And they landed, and of course, law enforcement took him into custody. United's statement was simple: this man has been banned from flying United in the future. Good for you, United. There's still no motive to why. I don't know what the seat did to piss him off, but he was raging. So this one's kind of sad, and it's so funny. And this is another one where people will get on me and go, Ryan, sometimes things aren't funny. Well, I disagree. Sometimes things can be sad overall, but funny when you look at it a certain way. And this is one of them. There is a cemetery in England called the Garden of Remembrance in Stoke-on-Trent, England. They love those cities with the hyphens. Stoke-on-Trent, England. And it is starting January the 1st of 2025. They will only have visitors Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock p.m., 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., 6-hour windows Monday through Friday. If you want to visit the gravesite of your loved ones or whoever you've lost any other time, it will cost £5, which is about $7.50, maybe a little more these days, I'm not sure. Or £10 if you want to see the Rose Garden as well, if you want to go over there. So the bottom line is you have to pay to go visit your deceased relative if you're not able to make the hours of 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Those are work hours. I think it's probably pretty difficult. So, I don't know what this is. The posted notice says that these policies are in effect to make the site more secure for the workers and the visitors, family members. And I don't think that makes any sense because people could still pay and go. I don't know. It's not like they're closing. They're just going to charge your ass. So I don't know how it makes it safer. I think it's some bullshit. Whoever owns this is trying to make some money. I mean, can you get like a season pass? Can you get like, I don't know. I mean, you get buy 3 get the fourth one free. I have questions and I need to know, but it to me it makes no sense, and it's kind of an asshole move on Trent by whatever England. Speaking of burying things in the ground, the Polera family of Padarshinga village in India really, really loved their car. It's an 18-year-old Suzuki Wagon R. They believed that this hatchback car was lucky, that it helped them in life. It was a part of their family, a part of their journey. And so when it finally gave out and mechanics said, nope, it's done, and they, of course, made it dramatic when it chugged its last gallon of gas, although over there I think they use liters, the last liter of gas, they gave it a lavish burial, a funeral, if you will, people, for this car, for this Suzuki. Well, let me tell you, 1,500 people showed up for this thing. It was catered. It had a band. It says right here they dug a 15-foot hole. The car was covered with flowers and garlands from the guests, from the owners. Then it was lowered into a hole slowly as music played. $4,500 for the ceremony. I don't think that's actually that much. I know I've had people, which is what's supposed to happen, buried, and depending on the coffin and the amount of people and the catering and all that, it could easily reach $4,000. I don't know if India if they're doing it differently because it's India, but it sounds to me like this is quite a fiasco. I would have liked to see it in person, but again, he said it was this is part of our life journey and whatever. And the gentleman, head of the household, I suppose, says he plans to plant a large tree right over it as a marker that they can always see that this is where their Suzuki Wagon R is buried. Rest in peace. All right. Let's get on to the main topic tonight. And I want everybody to do what they usually do. I want to ask them to do with me, which is to take a deep breath and listen to what I'm saying. Understand that there is a gray area. We're on season 4, episode whatever the hell this is, and I'm still reminding you of our name. Stay in the gray. It is not black and white. There have been a few things that Trey and I have both said we think, okay, this is pretty black and white. Don't dress like the Twin Towers for Halloween. It's pretty black and white, right? Hitler, bad. It's pretty black and white. Comparing Donald Trump to Hitler, that's not black and white. That's ridiculous. These types of things. But I'm going to talk about a town in Ontario, Canada. And this is the town, and forgive me if it's emo or emo. It's the letter E-M-O. So I'm going to say emo. The town of Emo, Ontario. I should have looked exactly at how many people are in this town. I apologize, but sounds of it, it's pretty small. This town was fined $10,000, and the mayor was fined $5,000 for not participating in Pride Month and not flying the LGBTQIA plus flag. Guys, we've got to get it down to where it's just like, just say the plus flag or something, or something. That's a lot to memorize, and I shouldn't have to do that. But they refused to fly it at their municipal building. Well, it turns out they don't even have an official flagpole. I think they hang their American flag on the side of that building or something. I mean, it's a very tiny town, and they chose not to participate. Well, of course, now I forget the name of the group, but the people that are bitching are the ones saying it violates Ontario's human rights code. And I'm not saying one way or the other yet. I'm just talking. I'm just telling you the story, and then we'll go from there. Emo doesn't have, and again, official flagpole. The officials were forced to take human rights training because of this from this town. So you're basically walking in and saying, because you chose not to fly this flag and partake in what, in my opinion, we'll get right to it, should be an optional thing. Forcing people to do something like this is, it's Canada, so I can't throw the Constitution there. But it's. I mean, you have no freedom. So, and you're forcing people to take human rights courses. What kind of courses are you taking? You should fly a flag instead of not flying a flag. I mean, what kind of fucking course is this? It's ridiculous. It's not like they hung the opposite and said, screw you. But speaking of, Mayor Harold McQuaker, sounds like there's a joke in there somewhere. McQuaker, my growing, whatever that joke is. But Mayor Harold McQuaker from this town had been taking heat from others, groups that were saying, please participate in this because they weren't. And his simple quote was, "No flag is being flown for the other side of the coin." In other words, there aren't any flags being flown for straight people. Why are we doing this? Why are we dividing more? Why are we continuing to be divisive? And that's my comment, and that's where we'll go from this, and that's where we'll talk about it. The Human Rights Tribunal Vice Chair, Karen, tell me if that doesn't apply, Karen Dawson, stated that the remark that the mayor made was demeaning and disparaging of the LGBTQ2 community. What are your thoughts initially when I say this? The mayor, you've heard what his statement was. You've heard what the Human Rights Tribunal Vice Chair's statements are. Where do we go? Is this gray? Is it pretty simple? Should this town be fined? I mean, we should be fined. Obviously, you can tell that I disagree with the fine. What's the real issue? What are people so angry about? That this town decided with leadership and local law and local government that they decided it was a 3-2 vote, and they voted 3-2 not to do it. Who are you to tell them that they should do it? You don't have to like it. I don't necessarily like it. I mean, I don't think things should be forced on people, but I don't have a problem with pride and flying the flag. And I've said it a million times. Be happy. I want everybody to be happy with whatever letter you are. If you want to add in, you could add in S for straight into the letters. Let's make them all. Be happy. But quit forcing it on everybody. That's my issue. And you're forcing a town that didn't fly a fucking flag to take courses on human rights. I draw the line. That's my thought. I don't agree with forcing it. I don't agree with shoving it down people's throats and making them do things that they don't want to do, no matter who you are or what the topic. This happened in professional sports. There are now teams that have decided they're not going to participate. There are hockey teams that players who had very strict Russian Orthodox, and I know all of you Americans hate Russia. You shouldn't hate Russia. You should dislike or hate their leader. But there are some nice Russian people that are out there. And the hockey players are like, I'm a big, strict Russian Orthodox, and in our religion, we don't believe in same-sex relationships, and that's how they were grown. That's how they were raised. Why are they wrong and you're right? Not one of them said, I don't agree with your lifestyle, stop doing it. They said, I'm choosing to not wear a jersey in warm-ups that has a rainbow flag on it. That's my choice. It's my religion. Every religion needs to be, we're so concerned with the Muslim religion and that they're treated fairly. We're so concerned with people that are not religious. We're concerned with all these other religions. But as soon as someone comes out against your narrative because of their religion, then they're assholes. And that religion shouldn't be valid. And I have a problem with these things. This is it. And it's not just LGBT, whatever, all the letters. It's everything. It's race. It's all these issues that we have today that everybody's spitting each other for. It's because they're being forced. Stop forcing it. Stop dividing. The more, and I said it on a previous show. I said, are we still talking about being gay as something that's unusual? It's not. You're the ones making it unusual by telling people they got to take a course if they don't fly a flag. These people are probably like, we don't have to fly the flag because it's normal. Why are we flying a flag? Like, be gay. Who cares? This is so 1980s and 1990s. Like I said, we can trans issue we can talk about. That's something that is new and people don't know how to react to it yet, including myself. And I think that's where discussion comes in. I am continuously looking for somebody who is trans to come talk to us and to give their perspective and their experiences. But you cannot continue to divide everybody and isolate the groups and then call for division. You can't say, I want this month to be all about us, blah, blah, blah. But we're all equal because you're literally doing the opposite. You're isolating yourselves from the pack. That's not uniting. As long as we keep the division in this country by doing things like this, it will never change. I've said it before. I get frustrated with, I said it on the Thanksgiving show about Native Americans. As long as you continue to play this poor me card. My great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was a Native and may or may not have been killed by a European, may or may not have been pushed off his land. Pay me. But what else do you want? You want houses? Do you want land? Do you want us to just continuously apologize? How long is this going to go? So I'll ask that question here. How long is this going to go? Is it always going to be, there's always going to be an asshole that comes out and says, screw the LGBT flag. Who cares about this? There's always going to be that. You get over it. There are way more of us that are like, there's nothing wrong with this. This is great. But don't tell me I have to do something to honor it when I'm not allowed to honor myself. I mattered too. If I flew a flag that was, if we had a straight flag, we would be, I can't even imagine. If we flew a white flag, I fly the flag of Scotland and the United States and things like that. In the United States, none of those are white flags. That's the point. They're country and heritage. But if there was specifically one White Lives Matter flag, hell, we wouldn't get away with that, would we? No. I could go on. I am unable to celebrate myself, but all of you are allowed to celebrate yourselves that aren't white and straight. And this is where this country is right now. And I have a problem with it. Not because I need to celebrate myself, but because you don't want me to, even if I tried. And that's why there's some pushback with all this. And that's why you're not going to get anywhere. Nothing will be better until this stops. I'll even go as far as BET. If you want BET television, great, but you can't bitch about a WET television. Although it sounds dirty if you say wet television. Who knows? Trey's tried to get that going for years. Just think about what I'm saying before lashing out at me. Really think about it. Think about the idea that if all of us are in a group together, human beings, and 20, now it's technically 8%. 8% of this group comes over here and says, hey, they're over here. I'm trying to do it as you can see it. And they say, hey, all the rest of you have to do what we say to celebrate us. All 92%. See how quick math I was? All 92% have to celebrate what we are. You have to, or you're an asshole. Or you have to take fucking training classes. Or you're a bigot. Or you're voting for Donald Trump. You have to celebrate us or else. Then they come back. All right. Then you get half the and more that say, hey, we need a flag for women's bullshit or whatever they do. And then you're isolating people. And then you're doing this. The only thing that we should be doing and celebrating and remembering are breast cancer awareness, diseases, our fallen soldiers, things that are uniting. People, we're all dealing with cancer in this world, and it sucks. Everybody probably knows or has known somebody who did have or has cancer. That's something to unite about. Our troops who fight for us, that's something to unite about. Just because you may like to be in a bed with somebody that's different, or you feel like you're in the wrong body, it's not something that we need to all be there. Do it, great, but don't make me celebrate it. Great. Why does it matter? Be yourself. If there's somebody that imposes violence, that's different. That's breaking the law. If there's an asshole that yells at you, I get yelled at too. Cut somebody off. I'm sorry. I know you disagree. I know you think that they're completely different, but as long as we can continue to isolate and separate, they will be different. If we act like one, we unite, and we treat everything together the same, we'll move forward. And it won't be a big deal, and people won't be treated poorly. We'll still talk about women in sports. We'll talk about the restrooms. We'll talk about things like that. But if it's more normalized to be a trans person, then I think there will be other options. I think everybody will come together and say, maybe we have a third bathroom. Maybe we do this. I'm just spitballing. I don't know. I'm not. That's why I'm not in a position of power to make these laws. But just think about it from that standpoint instead of ready to jump on poor Ryan for being that's what a bigot. Said nothing tonight that makes me that. I've said nothing tonight that is anti any of the letters at all. All I said is nobody should be forced to do anything with penalties. And you've got a town that's being penalized and punished financially Yeah, it's in Canada, so maybe we shouldn't give a shit, but it might as well be here too. And I just don't believe in punishing people who make their own choices. That's what we're all about. Freedom to choose, freedom to make your own choice. If you want your choice, if you want freedom to choose your lifestyle, then by God, anybody else should have the freedom to choose their own lifestyle as well. And that's where I'll wrap it up tonight. Give me your thoughts. Give me your comments. Write to me on all the social media platforms. This is where I miss Trey. I want him back because I know he's got some thoughts on this, and it's a good conversation to have. And again, I hope I can have some people maybe who are, they classify in that group and can tell me what they really think and why they think people should be punished. Do they agree with this town having to take courses, the leadership at least? I want to know. So I'll do my best to get some guests on to where it's not just me talking. But on that note, here's the end quote of the night. And I like this one because I could see it being some sort of a story at the end. It goes like this. Someone once told me the definition of hell. The last day you have on earth, the person you became will meet the person you could have become. And that hits me because I'm sure, like most people, you can tell me you've done everything perfectly if you want to, but there's always regret and there's always a wonderment of what could have happened. And I think that's what this is. This is before it's all over, be the person that you want to be. Don't wait too long to do it. And that hits home with me on a lot of things. And I'm going to strive to do that. I'll hang this quote in my office. So I love you guys. Good show, good topic. And again, please come at me. Not in a disrespectful way. I mean, if you want to, that's fine. But come at me. Talk to me. This is what we need to do, is talk. Have a conversation. That's what this show is all about. So we'll see you next time. Love you guys. I forgot to say that.